Grease is an unforgettable memory for me. At the time, I was 20 years old and in love with an 18-year-old girl, and we watched this movie together. Back then, Grease planted a vivid sense of nostalgia in our hearts, not for a real high school, but for a dreamlike youth, a time when every problem could be solved with a dance. From the 100% real hickeys on an actress's neck, to the female lead being literally trapped inside skin-tight pants that had to be sewn onto her body every morning. Grease 1978 was more than just a musical. It was a behind-the-scenes miracle built on sweat recklessness and even chilling coincidences tied to the legend of Elvis Presley. Today we're reopening Grease 1978 to peel back 15 untold secrets hidden beneath those glossy leather jackets. 15. Age is just a number. When you look back at the students of Rydell High, there's one obvious truth that people today love to joke about. They don't look like teenagers at all. In reality, the cast of Grease looks far more like adults with years of tax-paying experience and anxiety over interest rates than kids going through puberty. So why did Hollywood in 1978 make such a strange choice? The answer lies in the hard practicality of the film industry at the time. They didn't need fresh-faced 17-year-olds. They needed fully trained performance machines. Grease had a brutal shooting schedule packed with dance routines that demanded extreme stamina and precise technique. Casting professional adults helped the production avoid legal complications such as curfews for minors or the requirement of on-set guardians. The most famous example is Stockard Channing. Playing Rizzo, the bold, defiant leader of the Pink Ladies, Channing was already 33 years old, nearly twice her character's age. Perhaps the toughest case was Jaime Donnelly, who played Jan. At 30, she had already begun developing natural grey hair. To maintain the illusion of a high school student, the makeup department resorted to an almost absurd manual process. Every morning, they used black wax pencils to colour in her hairline because the grey grew back too quickly. Even Olivia Newton-John, who was 29 at the time, arrived on set so anxious that she requested a screen test just to make sure she didn't look like the other actor's parent. And yet, in the end, we believed all of them, because Grease was never meant to be a documentary about high school. It was a dazzling nostalgic fantasy where age faded into the background beneath the sheer energy of the music. 14. The truth about Sandy's tight pants. If there's one image forever burned into the audience's memory when it comes to Grease, it's Sandy in her black skin-tight outfit at the end of the film. Her transformation from good girl to bad girl became a symbol of freedom. But behind the camera, it was a literal prison. Those legendary high-waisted leather pants were not a modern garment. Costume designer Albert Wolski, determined to achieve absolute authenticity to the 1950s, hunted down and purchased a genuine pair of vintage pants from that era, which meant they were already over 20 years old when Olivia Newton-John wore them. And here was the disaster. There was only one pair in existence. During the very first fitting, the zipper completely broke due to the material's age. Afraid that replacing the zipper would damage the fragile vintage fabric, the production came up with a solution that sounds like a joke. They sewed Olivia into the pants. Every morning she had to stand still for hours while the costume department literally stitched the outfit onto her body. This inconvenience turned into a nightmare during filming. Once sewn in, Olivia couldn't sit down comfortably for fear of tearing the fabric, and using the restroom became a complex production process. Cut the stitches, take care of business, then sew her back in from scratch. She had to limit eating and drinking as much as possible to reduce the number of times the pants had to be opened. So when you watch Sandy confidently strut dance and throw powerful kicks in "You're the One That I Want," remember that she was doing all of it under intense physical and psychological stress. 13. The angel they really wanted. The beauty school dropout sequence featuring a glowing teen angel descending from the heavens amid white clouds is one of the film's most iconic moments. But few people know that the radiant spotlight shining on Frankie Avalon in that scene was originally meant for another man, the one and only king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. The producers were desperate to secure Elvis's yes for this cameo role. However, by 1977, Elvis's health had deteriorated severely. Some say he declined because the role was too small. Others claim his management didn't want him appearing in a youth-oriented musical. Elvis passed away in August 1977, right in the middle of Grease's production. And here's the detail that still gives the crew chills to this day. According to director Randall Kleiser, news of Elvis Presley's death arrived on the exact day they were filming the Pink Lady's sleepover scene. In that scene, Rizzo sings, "Look at me, I'm Sandra Dee," which includes a direct reference to Elvis. "Elvis, Elvis, let me be. Keep that pelvis far from me." Kleiser recalled that the atmosphere on set suddenly turned icy. It was a moment of eerie fate that gave the scene an unsettling, almost spiritual undertone. 12. Jeff Conaway's unrequited love for Olivia Newton-John and an unexpected ending. In the glittering world of Grease, the romance between Danny and Sandy takes centre stage. But behind the scenes, there was an equally intense, unrequited love story belonging to Jeff Conaway, the rugged Keniki. Few people know that while Keniki was locked in a turbulent on-screen relationship with Rizzo, Jeff's real-life heart belonged entirely to his sweet-natured co-star, Olivia Newton-John. According to reports from the Morning Call, Jeff developed feelings for Olivia early in production. Yet faced with such an iconic combination of beauty and talent, the usually confident T-Bird suddenly became shy. He admired her quietly, followed Sandy's every step, but never found the courage to confess his feelings. Fate, however, had a twist no screenwriter could have predicted. At a cast party filled with music and energy, Jeff noticed a striking woman chatting with Olivia. She was Rona Newton-John, Olivia's sister. With her elegant beauty and the confidence Jeff had honed through his role, he quickly won Rona's heart. After a brief courtship, he proposed, and they were married soon after. Although the marriage lasted only 5 years, Jeff retained a special place within the Newton-John family. From a man secretly in love with the leading lady, he unexpectedly became her brother-in-law. 11. Rizzo's hickey wasn't makeup. When it comes to realism in cinema, actors sometimes go far beyond what the script demands. In Grease, there is a small but striking moment when Rizzo looks at herself in the mirror, proudly examining the hickeys on her neck with an expression that mixes defiance and self-assurance. In an otherwise bright, upbeat musical, this detail serves as a sharp accent, one that firmly establishes the character's rebellious nature. Normally, on a Hollywood set, marks like these would be created in minutes by makeup artists using paint or blush. But for Stockard Channing and Jeff Conaway, they wanted something more real. "Come on, hickeys from Keniki." I like Hallmark cards, Rizzo jokes in the film, a line that captures the strange intimacy between the couple. To make that line authentic, Jeff Conaway volunteered to do the job himself. In later interviews, Stockard Channing revealed that those dark red marks were 100% real. She let Jeff create them right before filming, so they would appear fresh on camera, complete with natural swelling that makeup could never truly replicate. She admitted it was uncomfortable and painful, but it helped her fully inhabit Rizzo. It wasn't just a bruise on skin, it became a symbol of possession and personal freedom values Rizzo fiercely embraced. This small act of sacrifice is exactly what gives Grease its distinctive edge, a place where the line between performance and real life was sometimes blurred by the raw enthusiasm of young actors. 10. 20 minutes to choreograph a classic scene. The finale of Grease, set at the carnival, is one of the most vibrant and energetic sequences in film history. We see Danny and Sandy gliding through the funhouse explosive group, dancing, and an atmosphere of endless celebration. It looks like beautifully controlled chaos, but behind the scenes it was a breathless race against time. Producer Alan Carr went big by renting a real travelling carnival and setting it up on the football field of John Marshall High School. When the cast arrived, they were stunned by a fully operational midway complete with rides, games and glowing lights. But there was one massive problem. You're the one that I want. The song everyone now knows by heart arrived very late in production. Originally, the finale was supposed to use All Choked Up from the stage version. At the last minute, however, the producers wanted something more modern and pop-driven to fully showcase Olivia Newton-John's voice. When the new song finally arrived, choreographer Pat Birch had exactly 20 minutes to create all the choreography for Danny and Sandy inside the funhouse. 20 minutes to create a legend. That crushing pressure accidentally produced magic. The excitement, the spontaneous spins, the bursts of joy you see on screen are genuine, real reactions from the cast hearing the song for the very first time on set. 5 days. No air conditioning and a slaughterhouse next door. Watching the colourful National Bandstand dance competition, it feels like pure exhilaration. In reality, it was a form of physical torture that lasted 5 brutal days inside the gymnasium of Huntington Park High School. In the scorching California summer, the set became a literal oven, no air conditioning, dozens of high-powered lights radiating heat, and hundreds of people crammed into a sealed space. Temperatures on the dance floor reportedly climbed to nearly 47 degrees Celsius, 117 degrees Fahrenheit. The cast wore thick wool suits, layered dresses and heavy hairspray. And that still wasn't the worst part. Right next to the gym was a meat slaughterhouse. Olivia Newton-John later recalled the horror of cracking open a window for air, only to have the thick stench of the slaughterhouse pour in and hit everyone at once. The crew faced 2 cruel options: keep the windows shut and be roasted alive, or open them and be drowned in the smell of death. The 5-day shoot completely drained the cast. Michael Tucci. Sonny collapsed and was hospitalised for severe dehydration. Between takes, other actors simply lay flat on the gym floor trying to recover. The next time you watch Danny and Cha-Cha execute their flawless spins, look closely at the sheen on their skin. That's not makeup. It's survival sweat, earned under 47-degree heat, and the overpowering stench of decay. 8. The river no one should have entered. The drag race at Thunder Road is one of the film's most intense action sequences, a symbol of Greaser rebellion. But the glamorous setting was in reality a biological hazard zone. The Los Angeles River is essentially a concrete drainage channel collecting sewage runoff and polluted water from across the city. Under the blazing sun, the stagnant water turned into a terrifying bacterial soup. For 3 days of filming, cars repeatedly tore through the filthy water, splashing it onto clothed skin and even into the air the crew breathed. The consequences were immediate. Director Randall Kleiser, who walked barefoot on set, developed an infection and had to continue directing with a fever of 38.5 degrees Celsius, 101.3 degrees Fahrenheit. He later admitted he worked in a dazed state, as if half dreaming in daylight. But the true unsung hero was Annette Charles Cha-Cha. The shot where she waves the flag to start the race was filmed while she was enduring excruciating pain. She had secretly checked herself out of the hospital mid-testing just to make it to the set. Between takes, she could barely stand leaning against a car to avoid collapsing. Immediately after the final shot, she was rushed back to the hospital for emergency surgery due to an ectopic pregnancy. On screen, we see a confident, fearless Cha-Cha. Behind the camera was a woman pushing herself to the absolute limit for her craft, while her life hung dangerously in the balance. 7. The summer night scene was filmed at a real school, not on a soundstage. Unlike many films of its era that chose the safety of studio lots in Burbank, Grease fully immersed itself in the real atmosphere of student life by filming at Venice High School, California during the summer of 1977. This decision gave the summer night sequence an authenticity that no soundstage could ever recreate. The production transformed Venice High into Rydell High by covering the school's real name with temporary signage. But the real secret weapon behind the scene's energy was the crowd itself. Instead of hiring extras through casting agencies, the director used actual students who were spending their summer break there. The opening shot students pouring off the buses and running across the lawn is genuine unscripted energy from real teenagers. One fascinating detail later revealed by teacher Grant Francis involves protecting the school's statue of actress Myrna Loy, nicknamed MNA, on campus. To prevent students from rival schools from vandalizing it, the crew planted a thorny rosebush around the statue. Today, that statue has been cast in bronze and has become a pilgrimage site for Grease fans. 6. The pink clouds in the final scene were real. In today's digital age, creating a cotton candy pink sky is effortless. But in 1978, achieving the surreal finale where the car rises into the sky required astonishingly hands-on methods. The floating pink clouds you see are not CGI, nor are they real clouds. They were made from massive formations of cotton. Set artists carefully dyed layers of cotton pink to create a dreamy, candy-coloured atmosphere that perfectly matched the film's vibrant musical tone. The physical presence of these cotton clouds created depth and natural light reflection that visual effects of the time simply couldn't replicate. That painstaking craftsmanship turned the ending into a beautiful dream, a sweet farewell to youth that audiences have remembered for more than 40 years. 5. Bad Sandy, Olivia Newton-John's visual shock. Sandy's transformation from good girl to rebellious bad girl is the most iconic moment in the film. But for Olivia Newton-John, it was a genuinely shocking experience. Long associated with a gentle image in modest flowing dresses, Olivia admitted she was deeply anxious about shedding Sandy's innocence. But when she stepped out of the makeup room with teased curls, bright red lipstick, and tight leather pants, something unexpected happened. No one on set recognized her. Olivia later recalled that attention from her male co-stars immediately skyrocketed. Embracing this newfound sense of control over her own allure erased her fears and allowed her to deliver a powerful, explosive Sandy, marking the single biggest boost to her film career. 4. Lorenzo Lamas and the sacrifice of his hair. Lorenzo Lamas, the tall actor who played Tom Chisholm, faced a strangely ironic appearance test. With his muscular build and dark romantic hair, Lorenzo initially looked too cool, even overshadowing the T-Birds. To make him resemble a more awkward high school athlete, the director issued a decree: bleach his hair blonde. Lorenzo later recalled sitting in a luxury salon on Rodeo Drive, watching his hair turn a blinding shade of yellow. Though it felt strange at first, the change ended up defining his look for years to come. After grease blonde hair became his trademark and helped propel his career forward, proof that a small visual change can sometimes open an entirely new chapter in life. 3. Danny Zuko almost wasn't John Travolta. It's nearly impossible to imagine Danny Zuko as anyone other than John Travolta, with his slicked back hair and killer dance moves. But in reality, Travolta was a late arrival, The role was originally tailored for Henry Winkler, who was at the height of his fame as the bad boy Fonzie on Happy Days. Winkler turned it down because he didn't want to be typecast. His decision became a destiny-defining opening for Travolta. Few people know that Travolta had previously been cast only as Doody in the stage version. Yet, his desire to play Danny burned intensely. Thanks to an existing contract with producer Robert Stigwood, Travolta seized the opportunity of a lifetime. Decades later, Henry Winkler still jokingly admits it was the most expensive mistake of his career. I went home and had a glass of orange juice. John got the role and went home and bought himself a private plane. 2. Greased Lightning. Glory stolen. The car Greased Lightning is the ultimate symbol of power and freedom for the T-Birds. But in the original script, it belonged to Keniki, his pride and life's work. Starting from a beat-up 1948 Ford with cracked windows and mismatched tyres, Keniki scraped together every spare coin to rebuild it into a dream machine with silver lightning bolts trimmed in red. In the film, however, to elevate the male lead, the car's glory was shifted to Danny Zuko. The flashy red fantasy version, with the transparent hood seen at the end of the movie, was actually presented as a lottery prize. While this change helped Danny shine brighter in Sandy's eyes, it left many loyal fans of the original story feeling that Keniki's quiet sacrifice and hard work had been unfairly overshadowed. 1. The pink satin jackets almost didn't exist. The Pink Ladies' pink satin jackets have been Grease's visual signature for 45 years. But we almost never saw them. Costume designer Albert Wolski initially wanted realistic clothing, what real 1950s teenagers actually wore: simple, understated and practical. Fortunately, director Randall Kleiser firmly rejected that idea. He wanted the film to explode like a jukebox on fire. Wolski was forced to abandon realism and create glossy, bold, hot pink satin jackets. The goal was not historical accuracy, but the most vivid 1950s imaginable. And they were right. The jackets didn't just spark a fashion craze in 1978, they became enduring symbols of sisterhood and female rebellion. All that remains is a radiant dream of youth. A world where love always wins, where problems dissolve into music, and where each of us finds our own spark of rebellion beneath a pink satin jacket or glossy black leather. Grease isn't just a movie, it's a return ticket to the most glittering memories of our lives. And those are all the untold secrets behind the glow of Rydell High. Which fact impressed you the most? And don't forget to like, share and subscribe so you won't miss the next cinematic deep dive.